Well, my name's Elaine Vercellone, and in 1987, one of my two sons, he was only 4, and he got leukemia. And when that happened, our whole world turned upside down. And you can use your stuffed animal as a puppet and talk to it, tell it your problems, tell it a joke. Yeah, like you can bring your little puppets to life, and it will help you to be able to get things out. Ladies and gentlemen, and children of all ages. And when he's finished his address to people, he tips his hat that he's carved out of wood. It's so special. He was handmade, top to bottom. And what I asked the guy to do for me, he figured it out and put it all together. My goal anytime a child is ill and they need something, anytime a child is going through something, it's wonderful to be able to put something like this together and have them come in and experience a story that's done just for them. And we were in New York at the time, so we went to the hospital, Memorial Sloan Kettering, which is a cancer hospital, very, very well known. And he was treated there, and we were in there the whole entire first summer. He was diagnosed in June, and they were able to get him into remission so he could have 3 years of chemotherapy, which he did, and he's in his 40s today. Oh. But while I was there with him, I met Mr. Rogers, Mr. Fred Rogers, from actually here from Nantucket, and he was a wonderful minister, and he did so much in his life and had his own show and on TV. And he just, besides, I'm looking at all my pictures actually on the walls, and it's bringing back so many memories. He came in just to be kind and to make a movie so that new kids coming in would know that there would be fun to be had too there. Like we have a playroom and stuff. And that was really nice. And after we came home the first time, then we had to go back and forth every day, which was a 2.5-hour ride each day. There I met the Big Apple Circus Clowns, and they had just started in 1986 by Michael Christensen. Well, I didn't really care for the clowns that much, but they took all the kids' minds off things for a little while. And the outpatient, where you get the chemotherapy, was like an ER setting where it's just a curtain in between you. But you could see all the kids who had just been getting sick and everything from all the different very caustic chemotherapies. They were taking their minds off it so much that they forgot that they were sick. And that meant a lot to me. And so the first October that we had to be inpatient for 12 hours for a Cytoxin treatment, well, the nurses had said to me, dress him up because we always have a Halloween party on Halloween and it'll be a lot of fun. So I dressed him up as a little pumpkin, but my boys wanted me to be a clown. And I had never been a clown before, and I didn't know how to be. First thing about being a clown, my mom was dying of breast cancer at the same time. And so we stopped at her house. I went to Sears. I bought a $20 outfit, which was a satin one-piece outfit with these ugly plastic shoes and rainbow-colored hair. And I went into the streets of Manhattan at 6 a.m. in the morning, dressed like a clown on Halloween, and people really thought I was a real clown, and I didn't know the first thing about what I was doing. But somehow or another, they must have seen my heart coming through. And then when I got to the pediatric ward and on the 5th floor at the time, and the elevator doors opened, all the kids came to me thinking I was a real clown. And I remembered that clown in the hospital in that summer, taking the kids' minds off it. And so I realized that was really what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. At that point, it changed my whole purpose in life. My purpose in life was not just being a mom. It was helping my children through being uplifting and not worrying about all of the things you have to worry about. Matter of fact, you worry about too much all the time. So it gave me a whole new way of life to look at. And so I became the funny mom on on the floor and pretend I had Mai Tais, and I would deliver Mai Tais to the moms and Slurpees to the kids, because that's what they loved, from 7-Eleven. And then what I did was I made an outfit for my sons and I do have a picture over there by that mirror of the first outfit I made besides the outfit we had at first, for my sons and I. So I had 2 boys, Bobby and Billy, and that was the outfit I made. My mom was so thrilled to see us in our clown costumes. And on the way home from Sloan Kettering, when we were going back and forth for outpatient, when his counts were good enough and he wasn't sick from the chemotherapy, we would stop at nursing homes and just entertain and just sing. I did puppeteering from the time I was a little kid, so I had a ton of puppets and marionettes, which you see over there. And I brought those with me, and people just loved it. And it was, when you help make somebody else smile, it helps you to smile inside too. It helps your heart feel better. And so that's really how I started. And now 40 years later, 39 years later, you look at all the things that I've garnered in all this time, and a lot of puppets and marionettes, but a lot of magic. Because when you're a clown, you can do any of the things you want to do. So you can just juggle if you want, or stilt walk, or whatever it is you love, that's what you should be doing. And so I loved magic and puppetry and all that. And I like teaching spinning plates. I like to teach juggling and spinning plates, and to see the kids' faces light up. When people start, and I remember I started in 1987, we didn't have cell phones or computers to look this stuff up. So that made it a lot. When I think about how much we have now and how we're easily able to get these things, it's a lot different, a lot easier now. So we have clowning has a lot of history to follow and to adhere to, but also bring it to a modern world. So in early 2000, I had children coming up to me in my town in New Jersey and asked me, I want to be a clown like you. How can I be a clown? And so I thought to myself, gosh, I didn't know of any schools for clowns. I belonged to World Clown Association because a magician friend had told me about it. But I didn't know that you could teach a child. So I thought to myself, well, I've got enough stuff. I'm going to put together a whole curriculum for them. And at the end, the number 3 is very important in magic and clowning. So usually you come out, you do a skit, or you do something on stage. The first, second time it doesn't work, but the third time's the charm. And that's what they call the blow-off. That's when you're going to show something to the audience they didn't expect from the first 2 things, and that brings it to a blow-off part. So I started doing that with them, and I taught them here, actually, in Massachusetts. We had a home on West Island where we live now. I offered all the kids in the town to come and take this class for free. And twice a week I taught them. And after 10 to 12 classes, I said, you can graduate, but we have to put on a show. In order to graduate, you have to show that you've learned all the things that you've been coming here for. So they all did learn skits and juggling and storytelling, and all these little kids. We went to 2 nursing homes, and then we put a final show on, which is just like what I was telling you we're doing tomorrow. So in any case, just to go back, that really worked so well that when we went back to New Jersey, because we used to live there full time, I took that back to New Jersey, and I offered all the kids who'd been asking me for so long, and I had my own 4 boys at this time, 4 sons. And I said, would you like to be a clown? Let's do this together. And that's what we did. So there's a lot of different organizations that you can belong to now. There's conventions that go on every year. There's Southeast Clowns Association, that's called SECA. WCA is World Clowns Association. Clowns of America International is another one. But I really loved World Clowns Association. And there was a woman there that also had what's called the Junior Joey Alley. And Joeys are something we refer to ourselves as. Most people don't know about it, but we tend to want to memorialize Joseph Grimaldi. He was a clown in the 1700s in England, and he brought comedy to the white-faced clown. But, clowns weren't always the nicest characters in the 1600s and 1700s when they were jesters and they would tell the stories from one town to the next, because that's how people got their stories. But once 1700s come and Joseph Grimaldi, who was a whiteface, started to act out funnier things, that gave clowns a whole nother avenue to look at. So that's why there are different types of clowns, and that's something that the kids learn in every class I teach. There are whiteface clowns, which is what I am. I'm a comedy whiteface. Whiteface is the high upper echelons of the clowns. We lead the parade, and we put the banana peel on the floor for the Auguste clowns to slip on. And the Auguste clowns have that funny masked face. It's called a muzzle here, and around their eyes. But we have strict standards. Even though it looks like they have flesh there, they don't. They have flesh makeup. Every bit of your skin that shows has to be covered. So if you're showing your hands have to be in gloves. This is all for competition. It was a lot stricter when I started. It's not quite as strict now, but in competition, we follow the rules. And in competition, your outfit has to look perfect. Your makeup has to look perfect. Your socks have to line up perfectly together. And we try to raise the bar on clowning and keep it as good as we possibly can. Having said that, once the Stephen King wrote the novel with It and such, and the scary clowns started, it really made it very hard for us. And kids were very afraid of clowns. So there was a rabbi when I first started in '87 that asked me to put my costume on in front of his kids in his temple and teach them what it is to be a clown. And I did that back in '88, '87. And I really started doing that much more because I wanted kids to know it's a person under there. Yes, that's a stranger, but it's a person. And why do we want to be a clown? It's like, have you ever told a joke to anyone before? Tell a joke? Why? You wanted to make them laugh, right? Well, that's it. You heard it. You thought it was funny and you laughed. You want to make somebody else laugh. That feels good. That's what clowning does. That's where clowning comes in, really, today. So now we're saying all these things here. So when that whole thing with the scary clowns hit, it made a lot of us think how we were doing it. And me in particular. In England and Europe, they're way ahead of us when it comes to this kind of thing. And they do something called a light Auguste. Auguste look is that look I was telling you about, but it's much less makeup, more pedestrian looking. We have a wonderful circus in Vermont that teaches children in a camp, and then they go on the road for the summertime. It's called Circus Smirkus. They have a wonderful look because all the kids look like they're kids, like somebody you went to school with, but they have a little bit of makeup on and they have a funny looking outfit on, and they have bright colors. And so it's enticing to see, and they have learned juggling and whatever it might be, tightrope walking, whatever they might be doing. And they learn all those things so that they can be part of Circus Smirkus and go from town to town and put these circuses on in the summertime. They used to do it around here in Massachusetts, but now it's gotten too expensive for them. So they stay in New Hampshire and Vermont at this time. But so I started teaching it, and I did parties and events, still do parties and events, not as much parties now because now I'm doing a lot of teaching of kids. Now it's coming up. Somehow or another, I don't know what happened. COVID was very difficult for everybody, and it died down for quite a while. But now kids are learning how much fun it is to put on makeup in a fun way, look and make people happy. So this group that's graduating tomorrow has taken 10 weeks of classes, and they have done 2 nursing homes, and now they're bringing their show here, and they're going to do it tomorrow, and that's their third, number 3, and they'll graduate, and now they'll be called Joeys. And the kids are junior Joeys after Joseph Grimaldi. Here I also teach hospital caring clowning, because that's really what I learned a lot in the hospital back when my son was sick, how really, really important that is. But here, we don't get a lot of kids. So everybody, when they first hear, oh, you do hospital care and clowning, you in the hospitals, that's so nice for the kids. We don't get kids. In these 3 hospitals, 98% of our patients are grown-ups. And with the mental health difficulties of the day, grown-ups need smiles too. So when you're vulnerable and you have something difficult happening in your life, it's so wonderful to have somebody walk in the door and say, would you like a visit? And then you come in. I teach them how to come in for 3 to 5 minute visit, things you can say and shouldn't say, ways to keep hygiene so you keep yourself well and you don't bring any germs into the hospital to give to people. And that's called hospital care and clowning. And that's with light Auguste makeup. So those are the 2 types of clowns I'm really focusing on at this point, is the hospital care and clowning and the Junior Joeys and Joeys. Now this Junior Joey group is also their parents. If you want to come in and be a Junior Joey, you've got to have your parent with you. So the parents get to be clowns too. And it's just a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful memory to have with your child, that you helped other people smile because of you. And it's a wonderful thing for their child and them to take with them as a memory. And they might do it more, once they graduate. Will they continue? They will, as long as I can continue here as the Smile Factory. I'll always give them a purpose and places to go to clown. But it's up to them now, once they graduate, what exactly they do with their clowning. Now, the hospital caring clowns, they have to go through me because my program was accepted in our South Coast hospitals. And that's Charlton in Fall River, St. Luke's in New Bedford, and Toby Hospital in Wareham. So you have to, or is it Wareham? I know I always get it wrong. I'm a Long Island girl. We had to Wareham. So that's really what I do now. So I teach people storytelling, puppetry, magic, hospital caring clown magic, which is pocket magic, nothing big. And the puppetry, and like I said, and juggling. We don't juggle in the hospital, but you'll juggle at events or in parades. We do a lot of parades. And that's really basically what we do. And I'm still clowning after all these years. So I had the Smile Factory in New Jersey. When my husband and I moved here in 2018 full time, I had to figure out how to bring the Smile Factory here. And it took us a while to get it because of COVID and all. So it took us quite a while to get it going. But I feel like clowning is just taking off. And there are a lot of people who want to make other people smile.